Let's test this out. Can you say no kings? No. Those on that side, can you say there's no king of science?
No. No.
Okay. Over on this side, can you say there is no king of education? And way in the back, can you say there's no king of immigration?
No.
All right, let's get started. Welcome to No Kings Worcester. My name is Mitch Cohen. On behalf of GAIN, the Greater Asset Indivisible Network, it is my pleasure to welcome you to beautiful Institute Park on this amazing fall day. Thank you to everyone who created this place and this weather and everything else. This is our second peaceful No Kings event. As we get started, I want to say a few words about that, why it is important that we have a peaceful day today and every day while standing up to Trump's authoritarian regime. It's easy to think we talk peace because we're a bunch of old hippies. And some of us are indeed old hippies, but that's not the reason. It's easy to think we talk peace because it's the right thing to do, and it is the right thing to do. That's not the only reason. The real reason is that we believe in research, and we believe in data, and we believe in history. We know that peaceful protests work. That's the best way to beat an authoritarian government and bad public policy is with widespread peaceful resistance. It worked when thousands of women took to the streets demanding the right to vote. It worked in Alabama with the Montgomery bus boycott, and it will work for us against Donald Trump. Peaceful does not mean subservient, because we will never be. Peaceful does not mean quiet, and we will be loud.
No!
To help keep things peaceful today, we have a large number of event marshals. They're all wearing reflective vests and wearing badges so you know who they are. If you see something that doesn't look right, let a marshal know. They'll take care of it. I don't know if we'll have any counter-protesters today. If we do, ignore them. Just walk away and do not engage. Don't give them that satisfaction. If you need to, let a marshal know. You'll see a few members of the Worcester Police here today over on the sidewalk. They are here at our request to assist the marshals if needed. We have two letters we'd like everyone to sign. We've got a letter to Governor Maura Healey that has some thoughts on dealing with ICE here in Massachusetts. And we have a letter to Governor Pritzker of Illinois thanking him for stepping up as a national leader. We have two letter tents, one over to your right by Salisbury Street, and one of these tents over here to your left near the pond. Both tents have the exact same two letters. Please visit either one before you head home today. Both tents also have copies of our 10 pro-democracy commitments. You'll hear more about the 10 commitments today, and you can get the full list on our website at massgain.org, which is conveniently about 3 feet above my head. Over here, we talked about the other tents. Also, with the tents over here on your left, we have some great friends with us today. We have Worcester Indivisible is here to talk about their ICE Scream project and a rent control initiative, and I think a couple of other things. I believe Shrewsbury Indivisible is here too, and Luce, the Immigrant Justice Network, is here.
No!
Thank you. We thank them very much for joining us today. And way behind you in the curiously green building is a restroom facility if anyone needs it today. Now, you've heard more than enough of me for now, so let's hear from our first speaker. Kay Rusk is the founder and group leader of GAIN, the Greater Asset Indivisible Network. Kay spent a career in human resources and founded GAIN just last year out of concern for our country. Come on up, Kay.
No!
Hello, Worcester. We are living in extraordinary times. The man who promised to make America great again has done nothing but divide us, silence us, fire us, abduct us, and make us poorer, sicker, and weaker so that he can take absolute power. He and his administration are imploding our government and the institutions that have historically protected democracy, like Congress, the Supreme Court, the media, universities, the FCC, and the DOJ. He is destroying our free speech, the bedrock of any democracy, while labeling the brave Americans who stand up to his corruption and tyranny as terrorists. Donald Trump is degrading our military in order to illegally utilize their power against us, which should make every American shudder. And if there was nothing in the Epstein files, they would not be doing everything possible to stop their release. We're thrilled you're here today. My name is Kay, and I'm the group leader for Greater Assabet Indivisible Network, or GAIN, a Worcester County Indivisible group who has planned this event today. I would like to extend our gratitude to the Worcester Police who have helped us with security protocols. Thank you so much. And are here today at our request to help make this event a successful one. I was born and raised in Worcester, the second largest city in New England, which holds a storied place in American history. Before the Revolutionary War, on September 6, 1774, 4,622 militiamen from Worcester planned and implemented the Worcester Revolution, where they marched into town and closed the royal courts, upending Worcester's governance by a king.
Yeah!
True story. Isaiah Thomas, who was a freedom fighter during the Revolutionary War, author and newspaper publisher, fled to Worcester and founded the American Antiquarian Society in 1812, which is located right across the street from this park. Thomas also performed the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence, where today stands Worcester City Hall. In 1848, Worcester was incorporated as a city and became known as the heart of the Commonwealth due to our compassionate nature and location in the center of the state. In the mid-1800s, Worcester was a hotbed for abolitionist activity and women's rights meetings, and later home to famous political activists and countless protests. On October 1850, 1,000 men and women descended upon this great city to discuss a plan for achieving equal rights for women at the first National Women's Rights Convention ever, down the road at 340 Main Street. Worcester rocks. But this is not about our past. This is about saving our future from a wannabe king, and we must be vigilant and courageous. This administration is flooding the zone so furiously that people have lost track of the destruction of our voting rights, the lies, corruption, the shutdown, and the fake indictments of Trump's perceived enemies. This is a tactic of a would-be strongman, and we say no more kings. Repeat after me. No more kings. No more kings. Our goal is to unite people in a peaceful movement that is not a liberal initiative. We welcome all Americans who value truth over disinformation and freedom over authoritarianism, because democracy should never be a partisan issue. This fight is about a multicultural America where everyone has a voice and equal rights, not just the wealthiest among us.
Yeah!
They are calling these No Kings protests today the Hate American rallies. But we know we are here today because we are the patriots who love America. We are. Today, we'll hear from experts about what is happening to our nation. We will hear from Representative Jim McGovern, one of the nation's most authentic politicians. We're so lucky to have Jim. We will share Gaines' 10 pro-democracy commitments available on our letterheads, so you can sign our letters to Governors Healey and Pritzker and leave this rally with action items about how you can make a difference going forward. It shouldn't just end today, right? This is the beginning. So please get the 10 commitments and follow through so we can save America. We will end our rally with a poem from Gaines' own poet laureate, and then a rally-wide rendition of the Star Spangled Banner, and a peaceful walk back to our cars as we proudly hold up our signs for all of Worcester to see. You know, the other side has stolen our songs, our flag, and we cannot let this happen. It belongs to all of us. We thank you for being here today, and I ask you, what would our founders who fought successfully against a king and our children expect from us today? They would demand that we mobilize to end this tyranny in order to save America, which is the oldest democracy on earth. We cannot let America go down, which they created with their own blood, sweat, and fiery determination. And like our founders, we will never be intimidated into silence because there is power in numbers. Courage is contagious. And the antidote to despair is always action. And that's why we're here today. We can do this, Worcester. We can save our country because we did it before. And with your help, we will do it again. Thank you, Worcester. We love you, Worcester, and you rock. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kay. I heard someone say turn up the volume. I was going to mention that. We are working to see if we can make this a little bit louder. All right. Before we get to our next speaker, brief announcement. If there is a Deborah Steigman in the audience today, I say thank you for leaving us your American Express card so we can pay for this event. I'm only kidding. Deborah Steigman, if you lost your credit card, please come over to this side and we'll be... Okay, well, I don't know. Anyone who wants to claim to be Deborah, come on up. Next up, we've got a great speaker. Javier Leung-Garrido works for the American Civil Liberties Union. He is the Deputy Field Director for ACLU of Massachusetts, and he'll be giving us some thoughts on the immigration crisis. Come on up, Javier.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Excellent. Oh, hopefully everybody all the way over there can hear me. Can you hear me over there? Way in the back. I think so. My name is Javier Leung-Garrido, rolling R. I'm a brown person. I have an accent and I'm an immigrant. Those are the dangerous combination nowadays, don't you think so? First, I want to say thanks to every one of the people organizing this rally. I want to say thank you to you, beautiful freaking people, for being here. Don't tell anybody that things cannot change when you get engaged. Don't tell anybody to tell you that when you're working local, when you're working in your state, when you're fighting and you are pushing the legislator to do better every single day, that you are not going to fulfill what you want to do. We need to protect our communities, and protection starts at the local level. A couple of weeks ago, the Worcester City Council passed a resolution stating that the City of Worcester will not collaborate with ICE, stating that Worcester Police Department will not facilitate in any way ISIS reputable actions of kidnapping our neighbors. This is your city. This is the values of your city. The next step, what comes after a resolution? We codify it. We fight to make it law, so no city official will gather information that will be used by ICE to target your neighbors. Lead local. Change starts here. You have the power. You guys, an election is coming. An election where things can change for better in Worcester. An election that can protect our neighbors. This is your duty. This is your right to be engaged, to inform yourself. A couple of weeks ago, I was invited to Burlington, Massachusetts, where the ICE field office is located. Every Wednesday, around 300 to 450 people gather there to protest ICE. But you know the reality, that facility has been used for the last at least 10 years to target people, to go to book them and to ship them out of the state. I want you to understand this. I know you're pissed with somebody with a name and last name, but you should also be pissed with a system that allowed what is happening right now, with a system that is gonna be the same after this guy is way gone, because we will get him out of office. The ACLU has filed over 170 legal actions against the second Trump administration. That includes 87 fully fledged lawsuits.
Yeah.
From those 87, 1 in 7 involves direct action from ACLU of Massachusetts. When Trump tries to end birthright citizenship, within hours we were there. And we dissented, because dissent is patriotic.
Yeah.
When he tried to deny passports to trans and non-binary Americans, we dissent. When he tried to censor medical research and school curriculums and block billions in scientific funding, we dissent. We will keep dissenting. We will keep fighting. And the ACLU will see Trump in court. And we will be with you in parks, streets, and communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. Oh, I love the signs out here. And I love the animal costumes. I saw my favorite frog and dinosaur, who I know from Northborough. I think I see a rubber chicken over there. You got a unicorn, or at least one unicorn. Awesome. I love the variety. One of our 10 commitments is to stay informed by reading, watching, and listening to reliable news sources. While no publication is perfect, the New York Times is pretty darn good. Last month, the Times had an important article called "Trump is Shutting Down the War on Cancer." The bulk of the article was an interview with Dr. Rachael Sirianni. She's a professor and researcher in the Department of Neurological Surgery here at UMass Chan Medical School. Rachael is also an expert on the National Institute of Health grants. You've probably seen her posts about NIH funding cuts, which have gone viral, and I'm pleased to introduce Rachael today. Rachael, come on up.
Hello, Worcester. First of all, I have laryngitis. I hope my voice isn't painful for you to hear. I'm going to try my best to speak directly into the microphone, so thank you for bearing with me. I love it here today. This is such a joyful event. My favorites so far, love the costumes, and I got to call out a poster over there that says, "Stop pissing off my wife." And I really appreciated that for the sake of my husband. So thank you to everybody that's here supporting other people. So The thing is that there are some things whose value we only truly understand when we're faced with their loss. I wasn't sure if I would be able to speak at all today. All I could think about last night was, isn't it great to have a voice? Today, many of us still feel that we have the right to make our voice heard, but that right no longer exists for everyone who lives in this country. Its protections are disappearing day by day. Today, this day, we gather for the same reason, to make our voices heard while we still have the ability to do so. So hello, my name is Rachael Sirianni. I'm a PhD scientist who runs a large NIH-funded research laboratory at UMass Chan Medical School, just down the road. You already heard a bit of introduction. You may have read about me in a New York Times Magazine cover story that came out a few weeks ago. It's titled, "Trump is Shutting Down the War on Cancer," and I encourage you to read it. I'm a drug delivery scientist, and my group studies drug delivery to the brain. We design medicine so that it is more potent and more specific, so it causes fewer side effects in the rest of the body. This includes our work designing treatments for children with metastatic brain cancer. It is work that I'm incredibly, deeply passionate about. I used to wake up every single day thinking of patients and their families, filled with determination and focus to solve the scientific problems that we specialize in. But here's the thing, I can't do that anymore. My lab is shutting down because of what the Trump administration is doing to the National Institutes of Health. Boo is right. The systems intended to support research in medicine are being systematically, purposefully, and cruelly dismantled. I have had to terminate personnel and close entire lines of investigations. I took what was once a thriving research program, collaborating with scientists across the globe, and reduced it to something that is desperately hanging on by some threads in only a matter of months. The personnel that I've lost and the projects I've closed may never come back. Much of the work that was interrupted midstream will never see the light of day again. Frankly, there are very real scenarios where my research program disappears altogether. The abruptness and severity of this situation is deeply personally upsetting, but I want to talk about something bigger than just my story. Because what's happening to me, it's happening at scale, at all kinds of institutions, to all kinds of people across our country. What's happening to science and medicine, that is only one piece of the destruction of our democracy. What the Trump administration is doing carries consequences for all of us. In normal times, federal funding agencies like the NIH provide grant dollars that support the infrastructure and day-to-day operations of these research programs. The work that we do isn't done in the private sector. Most of it can't be done in the private sector. It isn't profitable yet. It's actually the government funding that plants the seeds to enable the biomedical research that leads to technology innovation and better medical care. And wow, does it pay off for our country. Did you know that every $1 invested in NIH yields $2.53 in economic activity? Did you know that more than 95% of new drugs approved by the FDA in the decade after 2010 involved NIH funding? We can treat HIV. We can vaccinate children against childhood diseases that for some would have been a death sentence. Everything from MRI and PET imaging to glucose monitoring devices, Ozempic and cancer immunotherapy. Childhood cancer mortality has declined by 71% since 1970. Yes, these are not partisan issues. They benefit all of us, and they originate from federally funded research conducted at universities, medical schools, and other institutions across our country. People fly to America from around the globe to pay out of pocket for our clinical care. America is, or maybe was, the global leader in technology, innovation, and medicine. Trump's lawless actions and those of Russell Vought and RFK Jr., taken directly from the pages of Project 2025, are closing the pipeline of science, medicine, and education in America. Boo is right. Here are some of the things they are doing. They are terminating grants and closing entire academic fields of study. These are things like, how do we best deliver healthcare to rural America? This is important stuff. They're targeting people of color and international scholars. We don't even have to pretend what that's really about. We know what that's about. They're redirecting congressionally mandated funds for their own lawless political agenda. They're literally stealing taxpayer dollars. They're shrinking the federal workforce to a point where the systems almost can't function at all. They're replacing merit-based assessments with uninformed, politically motivated ones. They're replacing career civil servants with political appointees. They're restricting free speech and free movement. They're requiring universities to sign a political compact in order to gain preferential access to funding. You know what they're doing? The White House has called for a 40% reduction in the NIH budget. A 40% reduction. That's 40% less science and medicine. And all of this, we can't put up with this. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I don't have time to tell you about everything. I haven't even touched what the Medicare and Medicaid cuts would do, both to Americans who rely on those services and the medical institutions that serve them. This is what they're doing. Here are the consequences. They are major and they impact everyone. Research programs like mine and many others are shutting down. Talented academics are fleeing our country for better soil. Doctoral programs are closing their doors and the workforce pipeline is drying up. We want doctors 10 years from now. We want doctors who know how to run clinical trials, who know how to critically evaluate science. If we want that medical care a decade from now, we have to take action today. Clinical care, clinical trials, these are already being impacted. We will see hospitals close down. We are losing an entire generation of innovators. We are willingly abandoning our position as the global leader in STEM. Our local and national economies will suffer deeply. And the really sad part is we won't even know what we've lost. The fact is, they're going after this, after knowledge, after innovation, after medicine, of all of the things. That tells you what the real motivation is. This is about power. They want revenge, they want control, and they want compliance. And we will not stand for it. Democracy is fragile. History tells us that we cannot take our democracy for granted. What's happening right now weighs on my soul. It weighs on all of our souls. It is demoralizing and depressing. But that sadness, that frustration, and when it erupts to anger, that is not where the story ends. That is not the last word, because I know this. When we work together, we are stronger together, and we can turn this awful tide. The great thing is, there's actual scientific evidence to back that up. Thank you to the social scientists and the historians in the room who tell us that in the crowd. I am using my voice today despite some difficulty, knowing that many of the people here have the ability to use theirs too. Today, I challenge you to find your thing. Find the one thing that you can do. It doesn't have to be standing up here on a stage at a No Kings rally. It could be choosing to pay attention to an issue that you care about and spreading that knowledge to those around you. It could be writing, calling, or better yet, scheduling a meeting with your legislature. It could be sending an op-ed into your local newspaper. It could be going door to door in the midterms. It could be running for office. It could be taking whatever small, specific choice is in front of you right now to make a difference. You get to decide. But no matter what you choose, move forward with absolute certainty about the following. Our collective action matters. Today, together, we have the ability to make this stop, to return democracy and democratic institutions to our country, and to see a better future for all of us. I want to end with a chant, and I'm really going to need your help because I really cannot speak very loudly right now. So here's what we're going to chant. We're going to shout, "We want science, not compliance." You ready? We want science, not compliance. We want science, not compliance. We want science, not compliance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. In addition to these huge rallies, GAIN hosts monthly educational talks. A few months ago, Dr. Sirianni led an amazing and sobering talk on the NIH funding process and cuts. You can find it on our YouTube channel, which you can get to at massgain.org. Now, I'm being told we have maxed out the volume as much as we can get out of these speakers. I hope everyone can hear me. If you can't hear me, you're not going to hear this suggestion, which is to come a little bit further towards the front if you're up by the bathrooms or over on the side. But if you can hear me, that's awesome. Next up, I want to bring up Todd Palmer. Todd is a member of GAIN's Action Brigade. Todd founded Justice for All, a weekly protest at the ICE office and detention center in Burlington. Todd is an average white guy and will be speaking about white male privilege. Come on, Todd.
All right, thank you, Mitch. I'm told we gotta be loud, so I'm gonna be loud. I'm Todd. I'm a middle-aged, middle-class, married white man. I'm not an expert. I don't have a PhD. I'm not a lawyer. In a lot of ways, I'm the wrong person to be talking to you today, but I'll come back to that in a minute. In my opinion, the point of the No Kings rally that we held in June was to warn us that America was in danger of slipping into authoritarianism. In my opinion, the message for today is that authoritarianism is here now. You are living in an authoritarian state. A state that wants to censor the media. A state where they want to investigate nonviolent opposition groups like Indivisible. A state that deploys the military illegally on American soil, where a secret police force and detention camps are being built, where the president orders the DOJ to prosecute his political adversaries. We all have a choice to make. We can sit on the sidelines and watch as our democracy is taken away, or we can make a stand. Now, I'm a white man, a demographic that Donald Trump won by a wider margin than any other. I am not under attack. So why am I talking to you today? I'm going to tell you why. I am not a veteran, but I reject Donald Trump's America, where the president told our military leaders that they should use American cities as their training grounds. No, I would prefer an America where we treat the people who served this country in our military with our respect and our gratitude, but where the National Guard will be deployed only in emergencies and only with the approval of the local governor, and where our military will never be used against Americans. And if you want to live in that country, then you're gonna have to do something. I'm not a person of color, but I refuse Donald Trump's America, where they use the excuse DEI hires so they can eliminate anybody serving in our government who isn't a white man. No, I would rather an America where we know diversity is a strength, where we know that America never has been and will never be perfect, but where we strive to leave a more racially just America than the one we were handed, and where we know that all DEI means is don't hire yet another white man when there's a qualified woman or person of color who can do the job. And if you want to live in that America, my friends, you're gonna have to do something. I am not an immigrant, but I have had enough of watching squads of goons snatch people off of our streets and deport them. No, what I want is a multicultural, multi-faith America where we live up to the ideals that are on our Statue of Liberty, where we really are one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, and where long-term residents without criminal records are not afraid to go to work or to school or to church or to their immigration hearings. And if you want to live in that America, then you're gonna have to do something. I'm not gay, but I am so tired of Trump 2.0's meanness toward anything LGBT or Q. No. I want an America where we value all people, an inclusive America where everyone is free to live without fear as they wish and to love and to marry whom they wish. And if you want to live in that America, then you're gonna have to do something. I'm not a woman, but I am fed up with Trump's America where women are denied life-saving reproductive care. No, I would prefer to live in an America where doctors practice medicine per their Hippocratic oath, not per their lawyer, where women finally get equal pay for equal work, and where we push towards realizing Ruth Bader Ginsburg's famous quote, "Women belong in all places where important decisions are being made." And if you want to live in that America, my friends, you're going to have to do something. I am an engineer, and I am so done with the Trump administration's anti-science agenda, where we have an anti-vax profiteer in charge of our health. I would prefer that we had an America that believes that all kids deserve a quality education, where young people can go to college without crushing debt, where our universities lead the world in research and innovation, and where our federal agencies are once again staffed by qualified experts. And if you want to live in that America, you're gonna have to do something. And I am a taxpayer and a voter, and I refuse to accept the one big beautiful bill where millions of Americans will suffer so that billionaires can have another tax cut. No, I would prefer an America where no one goes hungry, where the success of our economy is judged by how those at the bottom are doing, where we finally have universal health care because it's a human right, and where we protect Social Security so our seniors can live their golden years in dignity, not poverty. And if you want to live in that America, you're gonna have to do something. My friends, we are living in an authoritarian state. This Congress is not going to save us. The courts are not going to save us, and we cannot wait for the midterms. We, the people, are going to have to save ourselves. And I can't lie to you. I don't have a magic number of phone calls or petitions or postcards or emails or boycotts or town halls or rallies or strikes that it will take to succeed. But I can say that if the millions of Americans who are at No Kings events all across this country go home and don't do something in the coming weeks, then we will fail. So I need you all to get busy. America needs you all to get busy. I need you to pick your one cause, and I need you to join a group. If you're not a member of a group already, I need you to find a group that's fighting for your one cause and join it, and I need you to do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I need you to do something you've never done before, something that makes you uncomfortable. And I need you to do that next week. And then in every week thereafter, I need you to push yourself to do just a little bit more. By the way, the goal here is not to go back to 2016. That is not nearly good enough. The goal is for America to move from Trump 2.0 to America 2.0, where our democracy is stronger than it's ever been before. And I suggest that we banish discussions about what can't be done, because that is the language of failure, and that is not how this country was founded. And if you think you can't do this, you can. Just 8 months ago, I joined my Indivisible group, and in June, I decided the cause that I was going to devote myself to was fighting ICE, and now I am part of a small team that has a weekly protest at the ICE headquarters for all of New England in Burlington. It's called Justice for All Thursdays. From 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., there's info at the tents. Many have contributed to this effort, but the core was just 4 people. 4 people can make a difference. That's what we all have to strive to do. And the secret to making a difference, believe it or not, I just told you, you find your cause, you find your group, you take that first step, and then you just keep walking.
Yeah.
I started by telling you who I am. I'm going to end it by saying that if you're like me, a relatively well-off white man or white woman, that now is the time. You must stand up and use your white privilege as a shield for those who cannot do it themselves, those who are under more threat from this administration than you are. Because this is a time for solidarity, not resistance, not self-interest, a time for resistance, not resignation, and a time for courage, not cowardice. I just told you what I think we need, and let me tell you, we need no oligarchs. We need no billionaires. We need no tyrants. We need no dictators. We need no fascists. We need no kings. How many kings do we need? No kings. How many kings? How many kings? How many kings? Thank you, Worcester. I love you.
Thank you, Todd. If you want to join us and Todd at the Justice for All protest, please subscribe to our mailing list, which you can do so, guess what? massgain.org, as it says up there. A couple of housekeeping announcements, and these are the things I don't really prepare for, but here we go. I've been told that some of the bathrooms are out of toilet paper. We're working with the city on that, hopefully soon. Hasn't happened yet. All right. Also, somebody turned in a pair of eyeglasses. They are prescription. They are not sunglasses, but eyeglasses. And if I squeeze them onto my head, everything gets blurry. That's how I know they're prescription. Have someone walk you to the front over here, and you can pick those up. Next up, we're going to get into a little bit of the VIP segment of our day. Senator Elizabeth Warren sends her regrets. She couldn't join us today. She is busy fighting in Washington. But she sent a statement that she would like us to read. And joining us now is our own Elizabeth Warren doppelganger, Stephanie Sullivan from Gain. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Okay. So, this is what Senator Warren sent. Massachusetts knows a thing or two about kings. We've known since 1773 when Boston threw tea into the harbor. As much as Trump wants to put on a shiny little crown and pretend he's an absolute monarch, Donald Trump is no king.
No.
That's right. You keep saying that and it will be heard. And peacefully standing up for what we believe in is a deeply patriotic way to support our democracy. Standing up to a wannabe dictator is patriotic. Protecting health care for millions of people is patriotic. Saying no to troops occupying our cities is patriotic. Say it, patriotic. To every patriot who showed up today, to all of you, thank you. Stay strong. Hold on to hope. The fight will be long, but we will persist and we will not bow down. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have representing Senator Ed Markey, my friend Jesse Lederman.
Hello, Worcester! Hello, Central Massachusetts! Hello to our veteran neighbors! Hello to our immigrant neighbors! Hello to our LGBTQ neighbors! Hello to this incredible tapestry of activists and organizers! We hear that the crowd today is so large, they're having trouble hearing us in the back, but let's make sure they can feel your energy for our democracy. It's my honor to bring greetings of solidarity on behalf of our United States Senator, Ed Markey. Senator Markey asked me to join you today to thank you for your continued activism, for your phone calls, for your petitions, for your protests, for the work that you are doing every day to strengthen this movement. And he asked me to share this statement of solidarity with you. And so these are the words of our Senator Ed Markey, who writes, "My friends, thank you for being here today to stand for democracy, for equality, and for the fundamental idea that in our country, power belongs to the people, not to the privileged few. When we say no kings, we mean no one is above the law. We mean no one is entitled to power. We say and we mean that no one should be allowed to rewrite the rules for themselves while working people struggle every day. Donald Trump has shown us what authoritarianism looks like. When arrogance replaces accountability, when lies replace truth, and when greed replaces fairness. He has attacked our democracy, undermined our institutions, and treated the presidency like a crown to be worn rather than a responsibility to be earned. But this moment is about more than one person or one movement. It's about protecting the fundamental promise of America, the promise that every voice matters and that our government must answer to the people that it serves. Together, we say no. We say no to corruption. We say no to militarization. We say no to those who think our democracy is optional. But we also must say yes. We must say yes to justice. We must say yes to climate action. We must say yes to reproductive freedom. Yes to LGBTQ equality. Yes to diversity. Yes to a future built on compassion and community, not cruelty and control. The work that you're doing, organizing, showing up, speaking out is how we win. It's how we make sure that a government of, by, and for the people truly endures. So keep fighting, keep protesting, and keep marching. Never give up in the belief that the power of our voices and our votes can make change. Because in Massachusetts and across this nation, we don't bow to kings. We build movements. Those are the words of our U.S. Senator Ed Markey. He's got your back, and so do all of us.
Thank you so much, Jesse. And thank you, Senator Markey, for sending him along. Things are tough here in Worcester, but they're even harder in Washington. Our next speaker has taken our fight as his fight in Washington for 28 years. He fights for food, he fights for justice, and he fights for all of us. This Worcester native has become a national leader in the people's fight against the awful policies of the Trump administration, and I am honored to introduce him today, Congressman Jim McGovern.
Hello, Worcester. This is beautiful. Thank you for being here. Let me ask you, are we ready to stand up and fight for this democracy? Look, a lot of scary things are happening in our country right now. And the news is overwhelming. It's suffocating. People are afraid. But being together with you gives me hope. Hope that we will not sit back and let this administration dismantle this democracy and everything that we think is important. Hope that we will not stand by while this president tramples on our rights. Because today, we are standing shoulder to shoulder to proclaim a simple American truth, that we are a nation of laws, that our freedom is not up for debate, and that in this country, we are not and we will never be ruled by a king. Now let me ask you again, are we going to stand by and let this wannabe dictator shred our Constitution and destroy our democracy? Are we going to roll over while he tries to steal people's health care so his billionaire buddies can buy another yacht? You're damn right we won't. And Mike Johnson, Trump's lapdog Speaker of the House, he went on TV yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, but he went on TV yesterday and said that anyone who comes to a No Kings rally hates America. I mean, what the hell is wrong with this guy? I mean, what would he say about the people who said no kings at Lexington and Concord? What would he say to the protesters who said no kings at the Boston Tea Party? And what about the soldiers at Bunker Hill or the signers of the Declaration of Independence who said no kings? I mean, what a stupid, dumb ass thing for him to say. Massachusetts was revolutionary back then, and we are still revolutionary. Because we love this country. And we believe that if you love something, you fight for it. No Kings has been our rallying cry since 1776, because we have seen what happens when power comes not from the consent of the governed, but from the whims of a tyrant. We know how it works when the rule of law becomes the law of the ruler. And we know what this administration is doing is not just offensive or wrong. It is unhinged. It is deranged. It is un-American. It makes Richard Nixon look like an Eagle Scout. Now, let me speak clearly, because too many of my colleagues in Congress want to speak in riddles. The president has made a mockery of the rule of law, arresting his political opponents while pardoning the traitors who orchestrated an insurrection on January 6, 2021. He's threatened to turn the might of our own military against us, calling his fellow Americans, quote, the enemy within. He's deployed troops to our cities not to defend freedom, but to intimidate us on our own soil. And he sees with revenge against his own people, canceling federal projects to punish whole states like Massachusetts for having the audacity to vote against him. And he's unleashed masked agents who use Gestapo-like tactics to rip apart and destroy families, violating U.S. and international law by deporting people overseas to gulags where they face torture or even death. He's undermined our institutions to the point of irrelevance, propping up a spineless Speaker of the House who aids and abets his tyranny by canceling Congress in the middle of a crisis. He stacked our Supreme Court with sycophants who have given him immunity to whatever crimes he commits. He has usurped power that is not his, ignoring Congress, flouting courts, and declaring that his word alone is the law. And like a king, he exploits his office to enrich himself and those around him at the expense of all of us. These are the actions of a sick man, someone who stands for nothing but his own greed and power. And I believe it is our duty as Americans to rise up and peacefully resist this administration with all our heart, all our soul, and all our strength. My friends, this country was born in revolution, nurtured in protest, and strengthened by dissent. From the abolitionists who refused to accept slavery, to the suffragists who refused to be silenced, to the workers who demanded a living wage, to the civil rights heroes who faced down the water cannons, and the protesters at Stonewall who demanded equality. Each generation has been called upon to ensure that the flame of liberty is passed down to the next. And each new generation has found the strength in the idea that patriotism is not just about pledging allegiance to the flag or tying a yellow ribbon around an old oak tree. It's not just a bumper sticker and a lawn sign or blind obedience to the party and the status quo. True patriotism, true loyalty, true allegiance means calling this country to a higher standard. It means speaking out for what you believe in. And it does not make you a patriot if you stay silent while we are losing our democracy. That makes you a coward. And by the way, at the end of the day, it's not only what we are against that matters, but what we are for. So let me say that we ought to stand for a society where healthcare is a right and not a privilege. We ought to fight for a future where nobody goes hungry in the richest nation in the history of the world, where no veteran goes without care and compassion that they deserve, where every family can breathe clean air and drink clean water. We ought to demand a country where every parent can afford childcare and every child can go to a good school, where workers can earn a fair wage for an honest day's work and retirees can age with dignity. And we ought to speak up for human rights at home and abroad, not just halfway around the world, but halfway down the block. That's what true patriotism means to me, and I hope you'll join me in these fights as well. Now let me end with this. To me, America is not just some hollowed out piece of land that's up for sale to the highest bidder or some abstract expression of the latest public opinion polls. We are an experiment, a test to see if regular people can rule ourselves or whether we need a king to do it for us. It is now time to prove that we do not need a king. It is now time for us to use our voices and say we don't want a king. Those who came before us carried us this far. It is our turn to pick up the baton now and to fight peacefully and patriotically, but forcefully and with courage of our convictions. We don't have time to sit on the sidelines and hope that things will work out. The hour is way too late and the stakes are too high. And we need to understand that we are the last guardrail of this democracy. And when the branches of government fail, the roots must hold or the tree will fall. We are the roots and we must not give in or give up. This is our fight. And our presence here today is a sign of our strength, a message to Donald Trump that we will get into good trouble, necessary trouble, to protect and defend this democracy. We will resist, we will persist, and we will start a peaceful political revolution. You know, a revolution not only to stop Trump, but a revolution to stop those in Washington who enable and who empower him and people like him. I can promise you this. As your congressman, I will never bow down to any king. And we will never bow down to a man who sees us not as fellow citizens, but as subjects. And as long as we stand together, as long as we refuse to bow down, we will have no kings in America. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Keep the faith. Thank you.
Oh, we are so lucky to have Jim McGovern representing us in Washington. Thank you again, Jim. Next up, I'd like to introduce Chrissi Bates. Chrissi is the vice chair of the Young Democrats of Massachusetts Women's Caucus. She's a healthcare for all advocate and a recipient of the Key to the City of Worcester. Thank you so much and welcome, Chrissi.
Holy crap, Worcester, this is crazy. Look at all of you. Wow. Worcester, I'm Chrissi Bates. And I am so proud to stand with you all today for No King's Day rally. Peaceful civil disobedience fuels our liberty. No kings, no tyrants of hate or greed will control our bodies, healthcare, or futures. Together, we demand our lives, our rules. Raised in Northeast Connecticut, I was trapped in a strict Catholic family, trapped in a patriarchy. By 16, I started exchanging sex for needs while experiencing youth homelessness. In May 2024, I made history as the first trans woman to receive gender-affirming vaginoplasty right here at UMass Memorial Hospital. Paid for by Medicare. That's right. I'm charging toward a future in politics. I was voted in as vice chair of the Women's Caucus, Young Democrats of Massachusetts. I'm inspired by diplomatic leaders like Jim McGovern, Barack Obama, reputable people like Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris. We love her. Jane Goodall. Right, Worcester. Those are the people that inspire me. Trump does not inspire me. Massachusetts leads, but we need federal protections for affordable housing, quality health care, reliable transit, and we need fully funded schools, period. The Republicans' July 2025 not so beautiful bill cut $1 trillion from our national Medicare and Medicaid system. He's threatening health care for millions. It's a cruel plot to divide us, using trans people like me as scapegoats to distract from the real agenda, enriching the oligarchs. while gutting support for vulnerable people. Democrats drew a line in October backing a shutdown to restore Affordable Care Act subsidies and protect our health care. Worcester, let's tell them we won't bow down to tyranny. Trans lives are under attack, scapegoated in modern America. Republicans exploit tragedies like Charlie Kirk's assassination to fuel anti-trans crusades, ignoring their own inaction on violence, like April 2025's arson attack on Governor Shapiro's home in Pennsylvania, which I saw with my own eyes. This hate is coming from the top. It's coming directly from Trump and also his son, Don Jr., that recently compared trans women to terrorist groups like the Taliban. No kings means no room for hate. From Stonewall's rebellion, led by trans women like Marsha P. Johnson, to the ACT UP movement, where we gave HIV survivors integrity for the first time. As a Democrat, I'm going to continue to fight for Medicaid expansion, but this administration is unraveling it all. Worcester, we are the recovery city. Recovery is possible, Worcester. And together, we are stronger. Worcester, this moment right now, it's not about me. It's about we the people. In February 2025, Mayor Joe Petty, with the support of Christian King and the rest of the city councilors, let's shout out for Attell. Who loves Attell? We love Attell. Okay? So let's hold this. Okay, so Worcester, come on. Let's hold this promise together and show the nation what love over hate looks like. Let's demand a government that serves we the people, not the powerful. No kings, only us. Let's build a world where everyone lives authentically. Let's make it known, Worcester. Our lives, our rules. Thank you for your time.
Chrissi, thank you so much. Another housekeeping note. I mentioned before someone lost their eyeglasses. Those are still up here, but I think that person went with a friend up here, and that friend lost a pair of eyeglasses because now we have two. So if you're missing any eyeglasses, please come up before the end over on your left. Next up, we have someone you have never seen before because she has never spoken at an event like this before. Sabrina Welch is the founder of Mind Tricks, which teaches children about neuroscience through magic. While interning in a lab for cancer research, the recent budget cuts to education and research motivated her to speak out. She founded the Peace Educational Advocacy Organization. She's been connecting with students and educators across the nation. Her organization leads an open discussion how people may see the impacts of federal policy and platform youth voices. All this, and Sabrina is not old enough to vote. Please welcome Shrewsbury High School senior, Sabrina Welch.
Hello, everyone. is such a surreal experience to speak with you all today, and an opportunity which I am so grateful for. With my time here today, I hope to represent the voices of all of us. For the last 6 months, I've been connecting with students and educators from across the 50 states to open discussion and inform the public about how America is being affected by federal policy. From these discussions, there's one highlight that I wish to share with you all today. When connecting with a student from California, he explained to me that the majority of the districts that experienced education-based mental health grants cancellation were in Democratic-leading areas. This mirrors how federal transit and green energy funding has also been disproportionately frozen in Democratic-leaning states. With these facts, a divide in unity is apparent, with federal care presenting itself as conditional. Within the youth community, this divide has been the topic of utmost concern. Before coming here today, to most effectively represent the voices which I hope to amplify, I surveyed my peers on the issues they believe are currently affecting the political climate most. And when reviewing the results of the survey, recording 91 student responses, I saw an issue presenting itself with an overwhelming majority vote: the divide between Republicans and Democrats. This fear is not unwarranted, with events unfolding within our government today eliciting concerns over this disunity across the aisle. Within our community, I have seen us as the people work together. To the teacher who offered to buy me a calculator during Christmas when I didn't have one, to our parents in the audience who have sacrificed and worked for us to be here today, to the hundreds of dollars raised by the community for research, and to the collective efforts of us all here today to stand up for the rights of the American people across the nation. Our people leave no one behind. It is that unconditional spirit that we all have for one another that makes us as a nation so special. Let our government take us as an example, and may they remember who they serve, the America which belongs to all of us. We are dreamers, standing together in the land of opportunity. We set out on our lives with our actions focused on making our visions and dreams come true. Let our government dream of making America a place where we are welcomed, confirming it as a land of opportunity for all once again. I envision a future where we as the American people can be assured that we will be cared for and looked after, not dependent upon the status of our political affiliation, but rather on the truth that we are all worthy of receiving care by those who we have put in power to take care of us. When talking to my peers, I am inspired with seeing our generation ignited to engage in the issues which they have strong opinions on. And I am certain that our communities are outspoken and ready to take on leadership with care and purpose. Let us hold our leaders accountable, for they must feel the same passion we here today share, and must feel it within themselves, an internalized duty to serve the people. What I'd like to urge us to do, especially my fellow young people, is to utilize the passion we feel so deeply and translate it into action. Our lives will contain the future which we are all actively fighting for today. If you're the youngest in the room, do not feel intimidated, but find inspiration in those around you. If you're the youngest in the room, do not let your voice be discounted and allow yourself to sit at the table of initiating change. Allow yourself to be young while allowing yourself to be heard. It is true that we as a youth have so much to learn from those older and wiser, and from the leaders who have come before us. But we have so much to offer right now. Aside from us all, there's another group I hope to speak with today. In the news, some have labeled our efforts here today as the Hate America Rally. To the people who watch us in anger and disagreement, trust that we are not your enemies, but your neighbors. I am here today because I believe in your rights and the rights of those who stand here today with me. I stand with your children and ours in calling for education which is well-funded and safe from budget cuts. I stand with your sick loved ones and mine in the fight for providing them with a healthier future that is supported by funded research. Today, we are here because we want our communities to advance towards the more perfect nation the preamble of our Constitution speaks of for all. Let us love our country and welcome the pursuit of accepting only what is best for our people. If this mission is something you feel connected to, trust that we are fighting for this common goal. So let us reflect on what type of people are we? And to my fellow youth, who do you want to be? To the patriot woman who spent her 90th birthday on the streets of Shrewsbury Common advocating for the education of young people like me. To the father who came here to support the rights of his daughters. To the teenagers who came here to advocate for the safety of their immigrant mothers. And to each and every one of you here today to champion whatever message you wish to. We need more people like you. I urge you all who made it out here, and to the people watching this through a screen, our passion is potential you must act upon to initiate positive change. I hope that you see the same potential in me too. Let us all find potential in each other and let the youth rise to our potential, proving ourselves and our nation of our capability to unite the states and bring the country together as one. Let our Make Our Nation live up to its name, to make the United States the sanctuary of its people. My name is Sabrina Welch. I'm 17 years old, and I look forward to an era of unity and peace. See the faces around you and feel the privilege in being able to experience them. We are a community with my life inevitably connected to yours and yours inevitably connected to mine. When deciding which issues we feel compelled to stand for, let us remember, we are each other's keeper. Thank you for the privilege to speak with you today.
Sometimes I hear this movement doesn't have any young members. I say, stuff it! We have Sabrina Welch. This is an incredible turnout today. I know a lot of people are taking pictures and videos and recordings. Please send them to us. We want to see everything. Email us. You'll see our email address at massgain.org. Tag us on Facebook or Blue Sky. This is great. Next up, I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Sean Ryder. Sean Ryder is a professor and vice chair of the Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biotechnology at UMass Chan Medical School here in Worcester. He is the author of a book called Everyday RNA, The Future of RNA Medicines. Sean is giving our next educational talk 1 week from today at First Parish Church in Northborough. Welcome, Sean.
is Sean Ryder, and I'm fighting mad. How about you guys? So like Rachel before me, I'm a professor over at UMass Chan Medical School. And I've been asked today to speak about vaccines and what's been going on at the CDC. And my time is short, so I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to make it very simple. Vaccines work. Vaccines prevent the spread of infection. Vaccines prevent you from getting infectious disease. Vaccines keep you out of the hospital. Vaccines save your life. In fact, getting vaccinated is the single most important thing you can do to protect yourself and your family. So I'm going to ask you, why is RFK and the Trump administration trying so hard to destroy vaccine access and vaccine research? Why are they spreading lies? Why are they weaponizing misinformation and making appeals to emotion instead of appeals to reason and data? It's because it's part of their fascist agenda. It's written right into the Project 2025 documentation. You can read it online. They want you to lose trust in science. They want to control you by regulating the flow of information so that it only comes from them. It's as simple as that. I think they should leave the science to the professionals, to people who do the research in a laboratory and not some dark corner of the internet. But please, you don't have to take my word for it. I'm a scientist. Let's do an experiment right now. I want everybody to raise your hand or to raise your sign if you know somebody who died from smallpox. All right, notice there's no hands or signs raised. I'd like you to raise your hand if you've been infected with polio. One person. She's dressed like a chicken taco. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty awesome. The last confirmed case of smallpox in the United States was 1949. The polio vaccine was released in 1950. The number of cases in the US dropped from 58,000 to 5,600 in 1 year. That's what vaccines do. There have been many vaccine success stories: yellow fever, HPV, HBV, chickenpox, and of course, measles, mumps, and rubella. Right now in the United States, we have a full-blown measles outbreak. There's 1,600 confirmed cases. 10% of those cases have ended up in the hospital, and 90% of those cases are in unvaccinated people. This could be completely avoided. All right, let's talk about COVID and the mRNA vaccines. There's a lot of misconceptions about the COVID vaccine and many outright lies, and I'm going to dispel two of them right here and right now. There's a rumor going around that the mRNA vaccines are dangerous and killed more people than COVID. That is a lie. The risk of getting myocarditis, the most abundant adverse event from the COVID vaccine, is about the same risk that you'll be struck by lightning in your lifetime. The risk of getting myocarditis from a COVID infection is 10 times higher than the risk of getting it from the vaccine. And let's put things in perspective. Your risk of dying in a car crash, dying, not getting in one, but dying, is 100 times higher than both of those. You risked your life way more just by driving here today than you did by getting the vaccine. So I call that bull. The other myth that I'm going to dispel right now is that mRNA vaccines were used without testing. Utter bull. And here's why. The first paper describing mRNA vaccine technology was published in 1990. That's before Nirvana's Nevermind album was released. That's 14 years before the Red Sox broke the curse of the Bambino.
That technology was extensively evaluated, tested, and improved over 3 decades before it ever made it into a human being. And an estimated 3.2 million American lives were saved by mRNA vaccines before the first protein vaccine ever made it to market against COVID. The CDC just made it harder for you to get a COVID vaccine. RFK replaced all 17 members of the vaccine advisory panel with sycophants, underlings, people who will do his bidding. He even fired his own appointee, the person he named to lead the CDC, because she wouldn't sign off on his crap. Many other leaders at the CDC have resigned or have been fired. And in fact, just this month, 1,300 members of the CDC received termination notices in their inbox. I'm sad to report that the CDC can no longer be trusted. So if you'd like to learn more about vaccines or any of this stuff, I'm giving an educational seminar free to the public in Northborough next Saturday, 4 p.m. at the Universal Unitarian Church. You can find out information about it on this website, massgain.org, or on Gain's Facebook page. I'll be happy to answer any questions at that time. Now, with the final seconds I have left, I need you to do something for me. The government has abandoned immigrants. I need you to step up and start taking care of them. The government has abandoned marginalized communities. I need you to step up and start taking care of them. The government is taking away health care for millions of Americans. I need you to step up and help. We have to do more. We have tables over here to my right. One of those tables includes LUCE, which is an immigrant-facing organization, immigrant-led organization. Donate to them so they can do their important work. Donate to St. John's Food Pantry, to Woo Fridge, to LBUN Samaritino, food organizations right here in Worcester. Volunteer your time and resources the way I volunteer my time and resources. And do something every single day. It's not enough to get out here once a month, once every 2 months. Every single day, take some action. Bless you all for being here today. Go Worcester.
Hey, thank you, Sean. I want to mention our 10 commitments again. Earlier as we started, I mentioned we've got some great tents here. I know Sean mentioned Luce. We have Worcester Indivisible is here, Shrewsbury Indivisible, and Gain, the Greater Assabet Indivisible Network. We're all here. We've got a couple of letters to be writing because one of our 10 commitments is to join a pro-democracy group like Indivisible, and you've got some great options here. Next up, I am very happy to introduce Nikki Turpin. Nikki is the co-president of Robin's House, a nonprofit organization focused on raising awareness of the African, African-American, and anti-slavery history. One of their goals is to connect early African-American fights for freedom and equality with modern social justice movements. Nikki is going to talk to us today about the destruction of our Black cultural institutions. Come on up, Nikki.
Good afternoon, Worcester. Yes, when I first moved here after college, after growing up in Brooklyn, New York, I soon found myself living in something called a triple-decker outlooking Rice Square. Over the next decade, as I began to learn all about my new home, I realized Worcester was not that different than Brooklyn, New York. Even when we disagree on things, we look after our neighbors and try to keep our diverse communities safe and continuously united. In Worcester, I realized that the only real enemy is the guy after the snowstorm who has moved your spot-holding chair, table, or cone from your space that you just cleared. And right now, during this storm, it feels like a lot of people who didn't shovel out a spot are trying to steal what we have worked tirelessly for over decades. This morning, I had the privilege of speaking at the Concord No Kings rally, and I got to stand across the bridge from the sparks of the revolution 250 years ago. I was filled with a mix of gratitude and grief and responsibility. And I feel right now it's not that different in Worcester, because this city too has always been a place where people stood up and said, no kings. Long before the first shots were fired in Concord, Worcester's own patriots were already done bowing to tyranny. In 1774, this was the first place in Massachusetts to close royal courts and to expel the king's officials a full year before Lexington and Concord. So, when you speak of revolution, we have to remember, it didn't just begin on that bridge 45 miles away. It began in the hearts and hands of ordinary people right here in the Woo, the people who decided that freedom could and should not wait for permission. This week, we mark Indigenous Peoples Day, a day that we renamed and now exists because people like us refuse to let the truth stay buried. For centuries, our nation's story was told as one of bravery and destiny, but it left out the genocide, it left out the displacement and the silencing of Indigenous peoples whose lands we are still standing on. The truth, like the people it tried to erase, has refused to disappear, and it fought its way back to the light. And that fight continues for sovereignty and remembrance and honesty today. So, the fight for freedom that began 250 years ago did not include everyone. Not the native people called merciless savages in the Declaration of Independence, not the enslaved whose stolen labor was built the colony's wealth, and not the women who had no legal voice and whose only value was based on how many heirs they could give. I think, just like here in Worcester and Concord, people were terrified of what they were seeing, but they were ready to face down an empire that ruled the world. And they risked everything, land, life, family, because they believed freedom was worth it all. And that same unapologetic courage is what we need right now. We are not facing red coats. We are facing red hats. It's the same, but just in a new color. It's hate disguised as faith. It's greed dressed up as patriotism, and it's fear packaged as a new tradition. We are living in our own revolution, and one that is asking us not to fight a king overseas, but the kings that we have allowed to rise here at home. Those of profit, those of power, and kings of prejudice. We should no longer be silenced by this. As Frederick Douglass once said, right is of no sex and truth is of no color, and yet the truth keeps getting rewritten. The lessons taught in thousands of African American museums, indigenous cultures, and communities like my house, the Robbins House, places that tell our full, unfiltered stories are now being defunded, silenced, and declared no longer the national interest. What's being said is that stories like our own Ellen Garrison, stories of Black and Brown Americans and of Indigenous leaders and freedom fighters don't fit a narrative of white exceptionalism, and they should be erased. Do we want that? It's scary. It was scary for the farmers and tradesmen here in Worcester who hold the king's judges to go home. It was scary for the women at Seneca Falls, for Frederick Douglass speaking truth to power in Concord in 1841. It was scary for Crispus Attucks, the first to actually die in the cause of liberty, a Black and Indigenous man whose story is soon, or rather still often, just a footnote in everyone's history books. It is even more so scary to be an educated Black woman living in this moment. Freedom has always been worth absolutely everything. And while many people view this current tyrant that's working from and thinking it's a one playbook, I'm going to challenge that idea. It is not one playbook. We are watching multiple combined techniques being culled together from centuries of hate, both from our domestic shame and from foreign dictators. What we are watching right now happen is Jim Crow on a national stage. They want to make this country, all three branches, look just like them. And we can no longer say that we love freedom while ignoring that those are still around are being denied every freedom they deserve. We cannot celebrate a revolution for 250 years while we're refusing to continue that fight. So the question I have for you is to no longer think about what you would have done back then. What are you actually doing now? Worcester, of all places, knows that it means to make a sacrifice. This city has been saying no kings since it was before it was cool, and it's going to continue saying no kings far after. Everything we do right now is going to become a chapter in every one of our descendants' history books. The fight to be free of a king's rule is going to begin here. The fight to be free of oppression's grip is going to actually continue here. And the next revolution, the one that brings the truth, the one that brings equity, and the one that actually brings humanity is going to begin right here. So in closing, Worcester, I want you to grab your Coney Island hot dog. I want you to grab your seasonal limited polar seltzer. And I want you to take a moment for rest and remembrance of holy cannoli. Because as of right now, we have no more kings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikki. So there are a lot of events taking place today and every week all around central Massachusetts. One of those are the standouts over highway bridges. Someone just told me that this morning there were over 400 people at the Belmont Street Bridge. That's amazing. That's amazing. Next up, I want to bring up Antonio Viana. Antonio is an immigration attorney and is the first undocumented immigrant to be accepted into the Massachusetts bar. Antonio.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. And I wish you could all see what I'm seeing right now. Some of the speakers talked about how people were trying to dissuade us from being here by calling this a Hate America rally. We know we're here out of love and not out of hate. We're here because we love this beautiful yet imperfect nation. But we also know that love demands truth. And the truth is, power has grown arrogant in our country. Leaders have forgotten who they serve and what they swore an oath to protect and defend. And our Constitution today is more like a suggestion than a covenant. When a government believes it can raid homes without warrant, it can silence speech, it can decide whose humanity counts and whose doesn't. Folks, as Todd said, this is no longer a democracy. This is tyranny wrapped in a flag. And out of love, we come here to say, no more kings. Let me hear you. More kings. No more kings. No more kings. I'm an immigration lawyer, and as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm an immigrant myself. Thank you, Worcester. And before I became a U.S. citizen, I lived in this country for over 20 years without legal immigration status. And to show you how crazy our immigration system is, I became a barred lawyer in Massachusetts before I had immigration status. How crazy is that? So everything that's going on in our immigrant communities is very, very personal to me. I've seen daily people being dragged out of their vehicles after federal agents has broken through their window glasses and windshields. I've seen people get arrested at 5 a.m. on their way to work. I've seen mothers and fathers being detained as they walk out of church. And their children, U.S. citizen children, left behind on sidewalks or in the back of cars. Folks, this is not only happening with people who are here undocumented. The government is purposefully ending the status of millions of people like parolees and TPS, making people unlawful from one day to the next. People who've been living here for 20, 30 plus years, who suddenly become unlawful because the government simply said so at the strike of a pen. The government is detaining people as they walk out of their immigration hearings because they want to make sure they give up. They're saying this is to protect us. Masked agents are going out there saying they're combating crime. I'm sorry, but what they're combating is color, is skin color. And how do I know this? Look at that Twitter account. This week they tweeted remigrate, which is a white nationalist term. Last week, they tweeted, defend our culture. And it's so crazy. If you go into the tweets for DHS right now, there's a video that they just posted saying, everybody knows what an American looks like. What kind of world is this that we're living in? What does an American look like? I see America right here. People of different colors and creeds and rhythms and races, descendants of natives, of slaves, of settlers, children of immigrants, dreamers of the future. This is America. Our motto is out of many, one, not out of one, many. But you may say, I'm not an immigrant, so why should I care about this? Well, what's going on in your immigrant communities today? Immigrants are the canary in a coal mine. Because if the government can violate Fourth Amendment rights of immigrants, it will come for you next. If the government can violate the First Amendment rights of immigrants like they did to that Tufts student or to the Columbia University professor who had a green card and has now been ordered deported, married to a U.S. citizen with U.S. citizen children, they can come for you next. If the government can subject, as they are doing right now, hundreds of people to mandatory, unlawful mandatory detention, they are going to come for you next. Because once they're done with immigrants, tell me, who's going to be next? Who do you think is going to be next? Yeah. Tell me, say it. Yeah. Nikki said it. Anybody that doesn't look like an American, anybody that refuses to bow down, anyone that does not agree with what's going on and dissents, and this is already happening. It's already happening. Just look at Chicago. They just raided a building and arrested men, women, children, citizens and non-citizens alike. They brought them out at 1 in the morning. This happened 2 weeks ago. Look at your papers. The government is already saying that the people who dissent and who are participating in rallies such as this are terrorists. Because once you can label dissent as terrorism, you can criminalize conscience. Dr. King said, "I criticize America because I love her." I want America to be a moral beacon to the world. Loving a nation means holding it accountable. Loving a nation means demanding it lives up to its promises. Loving a nation means saying the uncomfortable truths. That's why we have a first amendment. And that's why it's the first. I know that some of us are angry. But anger is not the same as hatred. Our anger is love demanding justice. It's love that refuses to stay quiet while power runs unchecked. It's love that refuses to believe that some groups are less human than others. It's love that still believes in we the people. It's love that never surrenders. It's love that looks tyranny in the eye and says, "No more kings. No more kings. No more kings." I'm going to ask you for a big favor for some or for all of my fellow immigrants who cannot vote. Because even a lot of legal immigrants who've been here on green cards cannot vote. They don't have a political voice. So they need your voice. They need you to speak up for them. They need you to talk to your communities, people in your church, people in your families, to share the videos of the atrocities being committed on your and my name. We need you, because it's only those of us who have the courage to speak up that are going to save this nation and rekindle its promise. Fight on. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio. This is such a great turnout. Weather continues to be great, and I love the signs. Woo says no to fascism. I think that's my favorite so far. Next up, I'm happy to technically reintroduce Stephanie Sullivan. Stephanie is a local business owner, information security expert, member of GAIN, and activist of liberal causes. Stephanie, come on up.
Hello, everyone. Once again, what a wonderful day. You know, it's things like this that after we've been hearing about all the things that are being done, all the things we're fighting against, all the things that are being done to make our lives worse, that it's important to remember that there's some things that we're fighting for. You know, and the thing that we're fighting for is really embodied in this little book that I have with me. It was given to me by Jim McGovern back in 2009. It's a pocket constitution. You know what? The Constitution matters. You know, can I hear that? The Constitution matters. You know, it's what defines our country. It's what our country is all about. And right from the start, it grabs you. The first three words, we the people, and they're written bigger and bolder than anything else. You know, What we're fighting about, what we're fighting for, is because it's we the people. It is not we the subjects. It is not we the citizens. It's we the people, meaning all the people. Every one of us. Right? That's you. That's me. That's everyone. It's the people we agree with and the people we disagree with. That's the difference. We're fighting for everyone. Shortly after that, it has another big catcher in there. An idea that was unbelievable in its day, and it is still hard to believe sometimes, that we are working to, we're working to form a more perfect union. That is so powerful. It is so inspirational. It is so aspirational. The work is never done. And we have tried. We have amendments to our Constitution. We have ways of changing it to make this a better country, a more perfect union. We do that, and we haven't always achieved that goal. We've had times when we've fallen back in the past. This is one of the darker versions of those times, but not the darkest. No, not the darkest. But in all those past times, in the end, the people prevailed. We got back on track towards making a more perfect union. And that's what we're really fighting for. We're really fighting against these things, but we're fighting for a cause. It's very important to be able to grasp that, because you can't just fight against something unless you know what you're fighting for. And this is for the good of everybody. This is for the good of all of us. And hold on to that. It is so important. And at this, on the GAIN website, massgain.org, you can go massgain.org/10, or just go to the homepage, there's a link there. And we have what's called the 10 commitments. These are 10 things that we have, and believe me, the list is a lot longer than 10 if you want it to be. Ways that you can support and keep the resistance going to help push us towards that more perfect union. This is so important. When the rally is over, it's not the end of the protest. It's the beginning. We need to take that away. So go there. Go visit that website. Find these ways. You don't have to carry a sign if that's not your thing. You can help a friend. There are so many different ways that you can lobby your representatives. Your local government matters so much. All of this is so important. And you need to take this away with you when you leave and carry on the fight. Because when the rally's over, the fight begins. And just remember and carry in your heart what we're fighting for. And let's just say, I want to hear you say 2 things. First, we the people. Let's hear it. We the people. I didn't hear that very well. We the people. That's more like it. The second thing, to form a more perfect union. Yes, that is what we are fighting for. Carry on. Feel the power. Own the mission. We can do this. When we unite, the people will prevail. Thank you. Thank you, Worcester.
Thank you, Stephanie. So, one of the things that I hear silly rumors about now and then is that we're paid lots and lots of money by George Soros and other folks. This is all self-funded. I'll give you my best example. This silly curtain behind me cost about $30 to put together, and it's fallen apart. If we got George Soros' money, we'd have a nicer curtain. Now, it's time for some action. Next up is Jim Miller. Jim spent years as a reporter, covering authoritarian regimes and conflicts in Ukraine, Russia, Syria, and Iran. Jim has returned home to Worcester and is putting his expertise to work opposing authoritarianism at home. Jim is here to give us some action items for democracy. Give it up for Jim. History is filled with great heroes and terrible villains, but the history books leave out the fact that most people don't do a single thing. With more than 2,500 rallies today, this is the largest single day of protest in American history. You are the heroes. You are the helpers. You did not sit back and do nothing. I'm not here to talk about the problem. You've heard everybody talk about the problem. I'm here to talk about the solution. Make no mistake, showing up today is not enough. You know this. We could hold a rally like this every single day and it would accomplish nothing. You know this. What we have to do is what we're going to talk about today. What is the plan to actually stop this regime? Some of the organizations here today, not only do they already have a plan, or the makings of a plan, but they're acting on it. You need to sign up and get involved. To be truly effective democratic opposition movement, the first step, step one, is to organize. We must unite. We must share our ideas and our talents and our skills and our time and our money. We have to gather our strength for the storm ahead. Look around. The resources to win this thing are right here. They're here in this common. They're here in this city. They're here in this state. They've been here all along. The minds, the brains, the hearts, the heroes who are going to win this thing. But you have to join them or you've wasted an afternoon. Sign up at all these tents. You sign up for the mailing lists. You sign up to volunteer. You grab their information. You follow them on social media. You pay attention. You show up to the meetings. You speak your mind at those meetings. And we are going to get this done. You organize today. Do it before you leave. Do not leave here before you organize. Talk to people, meet people, get to know who your allies are, build those allegiances, and we will win. Look, the enemy is organized, okay? They are involved in community organizations and church groups, the VFW, Knights of Columbus, the local Freemasons Lodge. These are all organizations that liberals have been fleeing for decades. They're not bad. They're deserted. We've deserted them, and the far right has organized with them. I want you to drive down any downtown in any city in this country, and you count the churches. The people go to those churches 2 or 5 days a week. Some of them give 10% of their income to those churches, and many of those churches have been corrupted and coerced by the American far right. And we have abandoned community organizations. We need to join community organizations. We need to sign up for groups like Greater Assabet Indivisible Network, GAIN, that put on this rally, and the June 14th rally, or Worcester Indivisible, or the Indivisible groups near you, or Luce, who is here, or any of these organizations. We have to fight back. We have to take back these community organizations and these spaces. We organize, we unite, we win. All right. Many churches are doing a fantastic job, and I would be absolutely amiss, and I apologize, because there are some fantastic churches. Which group are you with? All Saints Episcopal is here. I'm sorry, United Congregational is here. St. Mark's Episcopal. I'm sorry, St. John's. St. Matthew's. Listen, yes, I apologize. There are groups that are here. In fact, some of our best allies are some of these churches. I've spoken at many of them. But you have to go. The folks who are going, they have to make their voices heard. They cannot let the far right take those spaces. So, all right, so number one, unity, organization. But what next? Once we gather our strength, we have to resist. We have to resist. We have to transform an opposition movement to a resistance movement. You can oppose all day long on Facebook. You can come to rallies all week long, and that's great. But if you are not resisting, if you are not making the regime's job harder, what are you doing? You may not know it yet, but there are some amazing examples of resistance that are being organized from Worcester and from the greater Worcester community. Right here in Massachusetts, we have a small group of citizens who are writing the playbook on how to shut down ICE. Shut down ICE. As you heard, Todd Palmer talked about it earlier. ICE uses a single base of operations, one office for all of Massachusetts, okay? Feet away from the Burlington Mall. There have been protests there that have disrupted ICE's job. They have changed their behavior to avoid the hours when the protesters are there. Well, guess what? The answer is obvious. We need more protesters. We need more hours. We need more days. We need to be protesting that facility 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. The protests that are happening now started on Wednesday, 2 hours, organized by a group called Bearing Witness. Todd Palmer and some of the people in our organization, GAIN, started their own protest on Thursdays. Now, there are protests multiple days a week. But listen, there are 7 million people in Massachusetts. 70% of them oppose Donald Trump and ICE. We could shut that facility down. You just have to do it. You have to sign up. You have to get the information. You have to volunteer. You have to get it done. But the protests at that facility, they go another level deeper. Protest organizers are putting incredible pressure on both the landlord who owns the building and the city of Burlington. And if they keep pushing, that facility is going to be shut down entirely. And if we can shut that facility down, and we can shut Rhode Island's facility down, and Connecticut's, and Maine's, and New Hampshire's, and New York's, where the hell is ICE going to drive 10 hours to get here? We shut ICE down in New England. There are groups you can organize with now. Bug flew in my ear. Luce over there is monitoring ICE, raising the alarm when ICE is raiding. There are groups, you can find out about them over there, giving support to communities who are under attack. If we support our immigrant communities, and we support our food pantries, and we support our charities and our community organizations, we limit the damage they can do. And then we can shut down their facilities at the same time. We can reverse their damage and prevent it. Organize. Identify the problem. Work together to find a solution and resist. Resistance needs to be disruptive, but we have to be strategic. The protests at the ICE office in Burlington have proven that we have another superpower. Protesters have put enough pressure on the city of Burlington that those officials, bug keeps flying in my ear, those officials in Burlington are now leaning on the state, demanding the governor shut down that facility. Look, folks, during the civil rights movement, protesters in the South were willing to put their freedom and sometimes their own lives on the line to create change. But in Massachusetts today, we already agree with this stuff. We're already united. So we have to put the pressure on our local officials to get them to do something. They have the power to stand up to ICE today. They just don't have the guts to do it. We can give them that courage. We can let them know that the biggest protest movement in American history has their backs if they're willing to do the right thing. And we can also let them know that if they're not willing to do the right thing, we will vote them out of office and elect people who can. You know, some of our politicians are in the crowd today, and I'm glad that they can hear folks, because they need to hear folks. We're done with the political speeches. Our local and state leaders have to act. Too many of them are hiding behind a lie that the federal government is the higher authority. This is simply not true. It's never been true. It will never be true. In the United States of America, you have the authority. Our officials report to us. We have the authority. They have to act to protect the people we've elected. But you know, we have to give our leaders these ideas. And then we have to hold them accountable to ensure they act on them. Speaking for myself here, just for myself, but we need to ask our elected leaders hard, very uncomfortable questions. Blue states pay into the federal government more than they take. Red states are the opposite. They take but don't give. But Trump's illegal, immoral, unwise, unconstitutional attacks hurt the blue states more than the red states. So ask your elected officials this question. Why are we paying our tax dollars to fund the building of concentration camps? Why are our dollars helping ICE build an army when our people are losing their jobs, losing their health care, losing their food stamps, losing their education, losing their rights? You know what? The governor knows there's so much she can do. Other governors have started to do the right thing. But why isn't Massachusetts leading them? The people in this crowd can lead the leaders. Lead the leaders. We have written a letter, you've heard us talk about it, to Maura Healey, demanding that she stands up to this federal government. You can sign it in these tents over here. You sign it before you leave today. There are thousands of this people in this crowd. Every single one of you can sign that letter. Several other communities are signing that same letter today. We can stand up and say that not only did we meet to rally in a park, we organized, we pledged to resist, and we led our leaders by asking them to do the same. We have the power. Go to these tents, get information, sign up for the mailing list, ask your questions, share your ideas, sign this letter, and together we will turn this protest movement into a resistance movement. Do that, and we will never have a king. Organize, resist, lead, push. Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Quick housekeeping announcement. Woman came up and said she lost her driver's license somewhere in the middle here. If someone has found a driver's license, please bring it up to your left at the front of the stage, and we'll get her back in touch. As we begin to close out today's event, happy to bring up Allan Finnegan. Allan is Gaines Poet Laureate. He's a retired healthcare worker. He's an Air Force veteran. And he's here to share his thoughts in a new poem inspired about today's America. Allan, come on up.
Hello, beautiful Worcester. Oh, look at all you beautiful people out there. Before I get to the crux of it, I just want to give you the definition of fascism. Fascism is a far-right authoritarian and ultranationalist political ideology defined by a dictatorial leader. Aggressive nationalism, suppression of opposition, and a strong regimentation of society and the economy, typically led by a single all-powerful dictator presented as a mythic figure embodying the national will, and the image is promoted through propaganda and rallies. Extreme nationalism places the importance of the nation above the individual. That's above you out there. A key feature is the demonization and scapegoating of specific groups such as minorities, immigrants, and political opponents to create an in-group and out-group mentality. That's just a little bit of the definition. It went on and on, but that's the main brunt of it, right? So, Trump has declared us the enemy of the people. Well, he's wrong. He and his sycophants and all the other little zombie followers, they are the enemy of the people. They are the enemy of us. I'm not afraid to say it. And I'm not afraid to say that he's a dictator, cutting to the chase, because that's what he is. Just one thing about polio. Right? I don't know if he's still here. I'm old enough to know what it was like to see people with polio, young kids, adults, with big giant braces on their legs to walk, and in wheelchairs, and them having to go in the iron lung. That's the threat that we are now facing in this country with every other disease, okay? I'm old enough to remember that. I was born in 1956. 10 years after the World War II ended. I had relatives that fought in that war in Europe against Nazi fascism. And thankfully they came home safe. I remember watching the Cuban Missile Crisis playing out on television every night and other historical events during that time. And being an inquisitive kid, my interest sparked in learning about history. When I was 16, I read The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. And that wasn't a school project either. Consequently, one book always led to another with me. And I got quite the library in my home right now. And I know a lot about American history because I love American history. So you want to debate me on that? Have a day. So at the age of 19, I joined the United States Air Force to serve my country, which I love. Yes, it's true. I love America. I love America, imperfect as she is, with all the good, the bad, and the ugly. America, my friends, has never been great like they want you to believe. What kind of greatness does he want to go back to? Jim Crow? Slavery? Eugenics? What? When? And so that is why I'm here, to stand up and speak out about what we are witnessing. The fascist takeover of our country as Donald Trump walks in the footsteps of one of the world's most evil dictators, Adolf Hitler. So far, Trump has played the fascist playbook by the numbers. What more do we need to know? He dehumanizes and demonizes people of color and liberals every day he gets. Every chance he gets. He demonizes us.
What did Hitler do to the Jews, the Gypsies, the LGBTQ people back then, and anyone else? They were demonized and dehumanized. And what did that lead to, people? If you don't think it can't happen here, you better think again. Because that day is coming if we do not get a handle on what is happening in this country right now. I promise you, it's coming. We are at a, sorry. More importantly, I cannot stress to all of you that when we, the people, stand united for a cause, we can move mountains. You can move mountains. We have history to look back on, from workers' rights, women's rights, gay rights, civil rights, and in between. And these rights weren't won without sacrifice. People gave their lives to win these rights for all of us that we have today. It was the power of we the people who forced change for the better of all Americans. Not just one group or another. Rights that were hard won that are now or will be threatened. He threatens and attacks the media and freedom of speech are precinct examples. He's coming after us, people, and we better do something about it. We are at a critical mass of losing our democracy to fascism, and we the people, you out there, you are the last stand. We are the last stand between good and evil, between fascism and democracy. We must not fail for the present or the future of America. Your children, your grandchildren, their grandchildren, and their grandchildren. We cannot fail. We, today, cannot fail. If you haven't noticed, he is already building monuments to himself. He has turned the White House into a golden palace. And he's building a $250 million ballroom. Okay? And in case you haven't heard lately, he wants to build a monument in the shape of the size of the Arc de Triomphe, but more closer to the design of what Albert Speer had done for Adolf Hitler. Look it up. He wants to put it on the mall, across from the Washington Monument. I wish I could go into more detail, but I can't. But given what I have said, I have this poem that I wrote. It's called In Shadows Cast by a Golden Tower. And now the Golden Tower is the White House, okay? In the shadows cast by a golden tower, following in Hitler's footsteps, an ode to Donald Trump. In shadows cast by a golden tower, whispers stir and tremors flower. A voice once bold, now filled with dread, promises cloaked in a chilling thread. With loud cheers and flags held high, he calls to people, igniting a cry. A passion born from anger's might, he dims the dawn, extinguishing light. With eyes set firm on history's page, he walks the path of a darkened age. In Hitler's footsteps lie echoes of hate, reviving the darkness that seals our fate. The walls of truth begin to break as reason falters and shadows wake. In every state, a haunting sound, a silence creeping where hope is drowned. He paints the world in black and white, turns away from the wrongs in sight. With a villain's laugh and a hero's disguise, in his rhetoric, democracy dies. With anger fed by fear and hate, he seeks to change the very fate of a nation proud, yet torn, divided. With an iron grip, he leads misguided. The echoes of dissent grow faint as lies take root and hearts grow taint. A ghostly figure of heavy dread, injustice thrives where reason's led. Fascism's cloak silently moans, in twisted minds its seeds are sown. a cult of personality, a cheering crowd where right is wrong and the weak have bowed. Like flames that flicker in the dark, he stirs the masses, ignites the spark. With words that chill and shake the bone, he builds his power on hate alone. In every rally, the venom spreads with promises wrapped in threads of dread. A scapegoat here, a foe defined, in chaos's name, our hearts entwined. He studies the words of tyrants past, in history's shadows he stands steadfast. For power gained through fear and lies is the legacy of those who rise. Yet still, our voices, your voices, rise and blend. For democracy and justice we must defend. In unity our strength will show. We the people have the power, all of you must know. For history warns of paths like these where demagogues sow seeds of unease. In the name of power they rise to claim a twisted fate, a dreadful game. So listen close, my friends, resist tonight, for in our hands shines the light. Together strong we'll find our way to break the chains and seize the day. In shadows deep the truth will shine. Awake, America, awake! And dare to climb. Stand firm against the tide of fear, for democracy will rise as love draws near. In this great land let freedom ring, in every heart let courage sing, for we are many and we are strong. In unity we the people will right the wrong. So let us learn from history's tale to guard against the storm and gale. For in the footsteps of the past, lessons learned must be steadfast. And in shadows cast by a golden tower, where whispers stir and tremors flower, it is the voice of America. It's your voice. It is we the people who have the power. We the people who have the power beneath that golden tower. Thank you.
Great job, Allan. To close us out, I'd like to introduce singer Laurie Miller and a number of our speakers on stage and other members again. The right is claiming patriotism for themselves, and that's crap. Patriotism isn't only for the billionaires and their minions. The broad stripes and bright stars are ours for everyone. To help take that back, Laurie will lead us, all of us and all of you, in the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please stop at either of our letter tents to sign the letters to Governors Healy and Pritzker and visit the tents and tables of your friends to the left. As you leave today, we ask you remain loud and hold your signs high as you head back to your cars and your homes. If you want to hang out on the sidewalk on Salisbury Street or walk up to Park Ave with your signs, that's awesome. Please continue to keep it peaceful. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.